Hello, everyone.
Welcome back. This is going to be our most enjoyable and most disappointing reads of 2019.
And most rereadable?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Well, I'm not sure exactly how to say that. Most rereadable or the most reread? Or has the most reread value?
You reread a lot more than I do, though
do.
this year for me could totally be called the year of reread.
Yeah.
But I've only reread things like one time. I've never done a 3-time reread, but maybe that'll be a goal for next year.
Not yet.
Yeah. Not
I
yet.
take a lot of comfort in rereading things. Especially on audio when I need something to listen to.
Yeah.
But I don't have the full capacity to pay attention to a new thing.
Yeah, I've found that too with audios. Definitely made me able to reread. Though I did reread The Lord of the Rings physically, because reading that to the kids. Yeah, this year. Yeah, I just want to do a quick little note. Since I finished my sci-fi list, I really relaxed on, went very easy on myself about just reading in general. I'd go through times, droughts, I guess you'd say, and really never wouldn't beat myself up for them. And it was very, very nice to not stress about, like, oh, I need to read something, need to be reading something.
You stressed over that sci-fi list for a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
4 years? I don't even know.
Quite a few.
Several years, yeah. Okay,
What should we start with?
We started with the worst last time, so should we end with the most disappointing this
Let's
time?
do that.
Okay. Speaking of rereads, what did you choose? Did you choose one for your most rereadable or your, what you think you might reread the most?
Yes, I do have one, and this is also probably my number one most enjoyable of the year, and this is actually a series, and it's the Immortal Guardian series by Diane Duvall. This is a total
Guilty pleasure.
It's not like guilty pleasure. It's not Anita Blake. It's kind of
no, okay, that is a guilty pleasure. I like the first few.
So I did think Guilty Pleasures was all right. That was the first one in that. But no, this is total vampires, immortals story. Ghosts. There's an alien in there too. And it's so enjoyable because the characters are just great. There's enough personality difference between them, and they all get their own love story and everything. And I'm actually on the 8th of the 9 so far published books, and that's 8th of rereading this year, and within the second half of this year.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like you're always listening to that.
Oh, yeah.
No, but that's good. I fully understand how you would want to reread a ridiculous romance series. I do that with Cut and Run.
Oh, that's right.
But this year, I would say the series that I reread the most was All for the Game by Nora Sakovic. I read the ebooks in the beginning of the year, and then I bought all the audiobooks on Audible. Was so excited that they put those on there, even though the voices are terrible, and one of the main characters sounds like a surfer boy, which just drives me crazy. But so I read that trilogy twice this year, and I really enjoy it. I've read it multiple times before this year.
Nice. Very nice.
Very good. So you already said one of your most enjoyable.
I did, yeah. So go ahead and.
I only have 2.
Okay, so I'll do one more then.
Okay.
So the next one is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. This is the first in a newer series of her. I think she's got a really long series of another books I haven't read because they're not on Audible Escapes, and that's pretty much the only reason. But this is a enemies to lovers story that a princess from the evil country is arranged to be married to the king or soon to be king or whatever of the Bridge Kingdom, which they control this bridge that is pretty much the hub of or connects all the commerce of this world, and so she's originally sent in to undermine everyone, but of course they actually fall in love, and it ends on such a cliffhanger, and cannot wait until this next one comes out. I don't know when it's coming out, but I mean, I'm always checking Goodreads. I'm like, is it out yet? Because I need this like yesterday.
No. A Bridge Kingdom and a Wedding. I feel like I've read this before. George R. Martin taught me that this is not going to end well.
It's
okay.
Well,
This is
it,
not
did,
going to
it
end
didn't
well.
end well. That's why I need the next one. So,
okay.
yeah, hopefully Danielle doesn't pull a George R. Martin and take a few years to get to the next one. I'm hoping that.
Okay. I can't decide which order I want to go in, but I'm going to say the runner-up most enjoyable read for me is one I just finished yesterday, actually, and that's Into the Labyrinth by John Bierce. And this book was definitely not the best written book at all. It was kind of, it was full of grammar issues and spelling issues, but I find that happens a lot with ebooks, honestly. I don't think it would be in the physically printed book. But the first quarter of the book felt pretty recycled, like Magic School. I've been there, done that. I've read this story before. But then it got really original, and I really enjoyed it. There was Magic School, which is always great, and you have a labyrinth, which I love the idea of that, of sending these magical students into a dangerous labyrinth, and if you make it out alive, great, you get to go on to the next year of magic school. You know, I absolutely love the Magicians series, and I just binged season 4 the other day, and I can see a lot of similarities in the, you know, magic is dangerous, but if you are competent and you can, you know, think on your feet, you can defeat all these monsters. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, you know?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. All right, the next one on my enjoyable list, no particular order on these ones, is Christmas from Hell, and this is part of R.L. Matthewson's Neighbor from Hell series.
I shake my head every time you talk about this series. I can't even.
They are so ridiculous, but they are so fun to read, except for Truce, which was on my worst of 2019. But this one I actually reread it. I read it twice this year because the female side of the couple in this one is just hilarious. She is just like bad luck incarnate. And so she is constantly like hurting herself and everyone around her just by accident. All of mine on my enjoyed are romance ones because, like I said, I just fell into the smut rut and have yet to be pulled out of that. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both of mine are fantasy, which is hilarious because my best of list was mostly like literary fiction, but my most enjoyable were both fantasy. And my number one most enjoyable this year was Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. I read this at least twice this year. So good. Group of crotchety old men have to like get the group back together and go save someone, and it was just, well, we read it.
Yeah, I didn't put it on mine because you had it on yours. Yeah, it is.
We listened to it on
so
audio
good.
in the car during a road trip not too long ago, and even the kids really enjoyed it. And I mean, it's not a kid's book. There were some things that hopefully went over their heads, but it was really good.
Yeah, the perspective character is perfect because he is just so. He has such a dry sense of humor about everything. It's like, well, we're all gonna die, but you know, he just has these wisecracks like throughout it that are just perfect.
I love that book. I really wish the sequel was better. I can't seem to get into it.
Yeah, I couldn't really get into it too because it didn't have that. It didn't have the perfect perspective character.
Yeah,
it's got like a whiny girl.
You can't be crotchety old man like with that whole get off my lawn mentality. You know, just so funny.
Yeah. All right, and my last one was actually Captive by A.D. Robertson. I read this one for the Owls Challenge because there was a for herbology because there was a flower on the cover, and I'm like, oh well, this is a romance. It'll be super easy. It was the first romance book I've ever written, and
You've ever read?
Yes, true. Ever read? Sorry about that. It just threw me over the edge. Captive. I'm sure you can imagine what the story is. This is a magical witches world, and one of these good witches is taken captive sort of by the bad witches, but the owner of the castle or whatever, the stronghold that she's at, actually isn't a bad witch, and they fall in love and all that, and it's awesome. All that stuff that you love, right? Yes.
Whatever floats your boat, honey.
Thank you, dear.
All right, are we gonna end on the most disappointing books of the year?
Yes.
I have 2.
All right, I have 4.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go for it.
All right, so the first one I'll talk about is The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. Oh. That one is the second book in the Wedding Date series. This one, I pushed my way through it, but it's about Carlos, which is the guy's best friend from The Wedding Date. Wasn't too interested in his character in the first one. Him being a perspective character still wasn't that interesting. Nicole, I guess, was okay, but she was new in this whole.
She wasn't introduced in the first.
She was not introduced in the first one, like both of the characters that are in the third one. So, there just wasn't quite the character connection there. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. The next one I had was Use of Weapons by Ian M. Banks. This is the third in the Culture series by Banks. I really enjoyed Consider Flavus, and I really enjoyed The Player of Games, too. None of these stories have anything to do with each other. But this was the last book on my sci-fi list that I read, and I wish it wasn't, because I just didn't get into it. I couldn't even tell you the name of a character in this book at this point because it was just so uninspiring and not entertaining.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a big disappointment, definitely.
I feel like I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but one of my most disappointing books of the year was Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut.
I thought you'd read that a while ago. I guess long year.
I know, it has been a long year. Nope, that was this year. I did not like anything about this book. I found it to be obnoxious, and I just sat there the whole time like freaking out about that's not how time travel works. You can't do that. Knock it off. I don't know. I couldn't get into the story at all. I just kept getting pulled out by the randomest things and the whole, and so it goes. I just about threw my phone across the room after the umpteenth time that they said that. I was listening to it on audio, and I think if I would have been reading it, it would have been easier because I could have just skipped those parts. But they say it twice on every page, and it's just my God, no, very disappointing. I was really hoping to enjoy this.
I'd suggest not doing any other Vonnegut if that one didn't do it.
I don't know.
Although maybe Cat's Cradle you'd like. That one's definitely more comedic based than Slaughterhouse 5 was. But,
well, and I don't need to be entertained by the whole thing, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I can understand. All right, let's see. Okay, so the next one was actually a DNF. This was Bonds of Desire by Linda Acher. I read the first 2 in this series and was really liking the characters and everything. Was very excited to get to this one because it was going to be about the female character that I was really excited to get to.
This one.
I might catch flack for this, but the reason I couldn't do this one is because it started to go outside of heteronormal romance.
It was a
Let's-
menage.
It was a menage, and I tried, but it's not for me.
Too much fencing.
there was a little too much fencing, like right from page one. It was-
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I had to drop that whole series because it started to really, the book after it was a completely, you know, gay couple, and then after that it got into characters that hadn't even been introduced yet. So I you know, just stopped there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have feelings about this next one. This is the most disappointing book of the year for me. One of the best written, I will give you that. But this is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell, and I know so many people totally feel me on this one, because what the heck was that? I cannot believe that she had the balls to do that. Are you kidding me? This entire book is the couple that finally got together at the end of the first one, and they're on the brink of breaking up the entire second book, and they keep getting interrupted throughout the whole thing, and like, so they almost break up and almost break up and almost break up. What the heck, man? My feelings hurt.
It's what happens when a publisher forces an author to write a book they don't want to.
Okay,
right?
so I looked up an interview with Rainbow Rowell this afternoon, because I was like, wait, what? She was excited to write this.
Oh, really?
She was excited to get back into this world. She really likes these characters, and she doesn't see what's wrong with this. She doesn't get it.
Well, she knows where the whole story's going because they left on a cliffhanger.
I guess
didn't
that's
it?
true.
Yeah.
I know, it was a manufactured cliffhanger.
Manu-
The cliffhanger was like a few pages before when they were about to break up, and they didn't get to break up because they got interrupted by this. Oh my god. Oh my god. I thought it was a joke.
You're
honestly.
very excited to see this couple break up, aren't you?
No. No. They need to get their heads out of their. Well, Simon needs to get his head out of his butt. Stop being.
All right. Well, I'm sorry about that. My last one on my list, this was on my worst of 2019 as well, so some crossover here, but this was Cursed by T.L. James. This was the first book she ever wrote, and she explains in the foreword that it's not what she would write today, but she appreciates, you know, the fans that, you know, got her career started and everything. Yeah. This was, I'm pretty sure, a Twilight fan fiction, but just very, very, yeah, just girl doesn't know what's good for her, can't choose between which shitty guy to be with, and yeah, so disappointing because I had read a book that was further in the series and was going to try and plow through, but now that I think about it, I don't even remember what happened in that other book that I read. I read so much romance that it's all blending together. And,
yeah.
So
a lot.
So I should maybe try and read something else in 2020.
Maybe we should cancel Amazon, or not Amazon, Audible
Escapes. And you're gonna cut off my lifeline.
I'm just saying, if you want to get out of the smut rut, that would be a good way to do it.
It would be a good way to do it. Yeah. All right. Well, that was our most enjoyable and most disappointing of 2019.
Yep.
Go ahead and let us know what disappointed you and what was super enjoyable, but not particularly the best thing you read. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.